If you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, or you just know me pretty well, then you already know that I'm a huge fan of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Not just as a tournament organizer of over 100 tourneys and a competitor, but also just as a huge Nickelodeon fan myself. I think saying I love the first Nick Brawl game is an understatement, and I have a ton of history with not just the game itself, but also the community that it spawned. So when the second game came out, needless to say, hopes were pretty high. It was easily my most anticipated game of 2023, and with every showcase that started to come out, it just became harder and harder to wait for. So many of my favorite Nickelodeon characters are being revealed, from El Tigre to Plankton to by far my favorite character in the game, the Angry Beavers.
It's time to fight like men!
The game also has an excellent campaign mode that I enjoy quite a lot, easily the best part of the game for me. So the game's been out for 2 months, and I've played 28 hours. That's not even a tenth of my Nick Brawl 1 hours. What happened? Why did I suddenly grow tired of this game I was anticipating all year, pretty much? Today I'm going to seek to find those answers, but before I do, I want to clarify that this is a competitive-only critique of Nazby 2. As I said before, the campaign mode is awesome, and I love the roster. Lack of Oblina notwithstanding. So I think the game is a massive casual improvement, and looking over that aspect of the game would be just really redundant. So without further ado, let's get into my gripes and woes of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. If there's one word I could use to describe Nazby 1, it would be fast. If you played your cards right, a stock in Nazby 1 could last less than 10 seconds. Hell, maybe even 5. As for Nazby 2, and that is a minimum. I guess to make the series more in line with other platform fighters like the Super Smash Bros. Series, Nick Brawl 2 is a lot slower than Nick Brawl 1 in comparison. While this isn't inherently a bad thing, it does make the game objectively slower to watch, and combos in this game feel a lot less fluid than the first game. There's also the addition of Slime, which I could honestly make a whole entire different video on, but for now I'll just bring up Burst, which can make your opponent even harder to kill if they have it on deck. And God help you if you run into a Rocco, Jesus Christ! Overall, Nazby 2's slower speed makes it a little bit harder to commit to for longer periods of time, which is one of my big struggles with it. I do hope in later patches it will get faster, but only time will tell.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
A big complaint I've seen shared with Nazby 2 is that a lot of moves, noticeably on the top tier characters in the game, are a little bit too safe. This can make some characters really difficult to challenge in neutral because they can just hit you with a safe move on shield and chain grab you to like 50. To be fair, Nick Brawl 1 had characters like this too, but in Nick Brawl 2 it's more of a problem because the slower speed of the game combined with the threat of these moves means that neutral in this game takes a lot slower. Slime can be helpful to alleviate this if you have bursts, but you just have to reset to neutral anyway, so the problem kinda stays. Overall, this is one of the bigger complaints, but also one that has been getting fixed over time with patches, so hopefully this is a non-issue moving forward. And finally, probably my biggest complaint with Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Nick Brawl 2 is buggy as all hell. From the online desyncing to characters just not working properly for whatever reason, and then there's this. Garfield, you were supposed to run out of that by now. Garfield has infinite Sugar Rush in this patch for whatever reason, which means he basically has better stats all the time for free if he activates this, giving him a pretty unfair advantage for the entire match. Now, as a competitor, especially if you don't play Garfield, this is probably a non-issue, but I'm a tournament organizer. So every time a new patch bug like this comes out, I have to decide amongst a group of TOs whether I have to just straight up ban Garfield, just ban Sugar Rush, or just not ban anything about him and let him rock. As a tournament organizer, this is extremely frustrating because I basically have to change the rules to accommodate for a game-breaking bug every single patch, and I'm lucky if I don't get any backlash from even my own players for it. I hope you understand this isn't a personal attack on the developers or anything. I understand game development is hard as hell, and I'm sure the devs are hard at work trying to fix these bugs as soon as they can. I just hope you understand my frustration in trying to support a game that feels like it changes for the worse every single month, with no warning or reason. So, to wrap things up, just because I have a sour opinion of the competitive state of Nick Brawl 2 doesn't mean I think it's a bad game at all. Far from it, actually. The game is extremely fun casually, and I love campaign mode, as I said before. It's definitely a game I want to love. It's just that week by week, the game feels more frustrating to competitively support. But honestly, I'm also hoping that this is something that changes over time with future patches. There's a lot about this game that I love, and there's a lot about this game that I really want to love. Mr. Krabs is on the horizon too as DLC, and I'm really excited for him. So, to close out, I really hope this video actually does age pretty poorly. Because despite everything, I still really want to see Nick Brawl 2 succeed. And I hope later patches change my mind on it. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.